We got the bike all assembled, and I'd have to say I'm pretty impressed. I think for a kid's bike, kid's trials bike, this is probably the closest thing I've seen to normal full-size like adults trials bike. Sometimes on these kids bikes they kind of skimp out on the components like foot pegs or kickstands. They're kind of, I don't know, an afterthought or kind of chintzy. A lot of the other parts aren't really up to par to like a full-size bike, but go ahead and walk you through. Pretty good overall. So we'll start up here at the front. Pretty sweet front hub, red anodized, looks pretty trick. We've got front disc guard, looks good. So here we've got the front fork. We've got a compression dial here, and then down below, rebound dial, and then on the other side, we've got the air valve. So it's an air fork. Yes, you can say it's an air spring on this side. I don't know. I don't really know suspension very well. And I guess there's oil on this side. I don't know, some kind of valving. And I did play with the dials. I did notice a difference, which is nice. Her old bike only had a compression dial, and I don't think I couldn't notice a difference when I played with it, to be honest with you, but this stuff seems pretty legit. Pretty nice fat tubes, and quite a bit of travel, really. Her old bike didn't have that much travel, and I jumped up and down on this just a little bit, just kind of bounced up and down, and I could definitely feel kind of the valving. I guess it's got valving. You could feel it kind of going through the stroke and working properly, so good stuff. Rear shock, pretty trick, really. Linkage and everything. And then there's an adjustment color here that you can tap loose and either tighten or loosen to adjust your spring back here. And then there is up top, up in here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a dial here, and I'm not sure if that's compression or rebound. I don't know, I haven't really played with it too much yet, but pretty trick, really, pretty sweet. These are the steering stops, steering lockout, steering bumps, whatever you want to call them. Legit skid plate. Just glad to see that. Rear sprocket, chain. Pretty stout chain. Her old bike has this tiny micro chain. I was really surprised by how small it was, and I thought we were gonna snap it. But glad to see this has more of a robust, beefier chain, and also the sprocket on her old bike is like paper thin, and with that small micro chain, and we'd bend the sprocket, and just always having problems with the chain coming off. And so we've got rear rim lock. I was super excited to see this. Her old bike didn't have a rim lock, and running super low tire pressure for the trials type stuff, we'd spin the tire just a little bit, enough to where the valve stem would get all jacked up in there, and it actually caused a flat one time. So glad to see, this on here. Got the rear chain tensioner. This side looks pretty good. Kickstand, an actual kickstand that is tensioned properly to stay up. It's nice and tucked up out of the way. Rear tire, nice big blocks, soft, nice fat trials tire. Rear hub, anodized with the TRS logo. Rear disc guard, brake guard. The foot pegs here, spring loaded, just like a normal bike. Then we got the power plant, motor. And what I like about this setup is the swing arm is independent of the motor. It's mounted here in the frame and pivots independently of the motor. Her old bike was set up kind of weird, like the motor was mounted in the swing arm, so it was all one unit. Rear chain kind of guard, I guess. Rear chain stay. It's tensioned, the slack of the chain. Up here, we've got the handbrake controls. I mean, some of this stuff is, like mountain bike component type stuff. But I think it's fine for the intended purpose. Got your kill switch here. Power on off, pretty straightforward. So this is where you got your controls, your charger, obviously. I think it's it's charged up. I like that they give you a nice long cord here. You don't have to use an extension cord. Getting back here, your response dial. All the dials are underneath here. I don't know if you can really see that. You got these different dials. Got speed, power, and then, response. And you can kind of tune those into your liking to what kind of power and response you want. It's good, especially with kids and, if they're new and you need to soften all the curves up, it's easy to do that. So I think that's about it. I think I've covered pretty much most everything. Pretty impressed, really. I mean, some of these companies are definitely starting to step it up with these kids' bikes, making legit stuff. The only thing I'd like to see, and I'm probably dreaming really, but is a clutch, right? Like hydraulic clutch would be awesome, kind of like what they've got on the electric motion Pure Race or something like that. That way, they can start learning clutch work, how to dump the clutch, slip the clutch, all that. But, I think that's the way things are heading, kind of sadly with, combustion motors and all that, but it is what it is. So we'll probably see it eventually. But, and then the other thing I think I'd like to see is a rear foot pedal, rear brake foot pedal. You know, with this, you got kind of the standard front and rear handbrake, but I still think it'd be beneficial to have a rear foot pedal, especially, you know, if you've got a hydraulic clutch, you need to be able to learn how to use that rear foot pedal so you can free up your hand for the clutch. But other than that, super stoked on this, super impressed, super excited. We'll see how Leah does on it. Quick shout out to TRS USA. I was trying to locate one of these bikes and my local dealer didn't happen to have one in stock, so I emailed TRS, and I think it was Jim Snell that got me in touch with Dirt Riders West. Mike over there had one of these in stock, luckily. He was able to ship it out to me. Real good to work with. So thank you, Mike.